cold, distant, and mysterious. Antarctica has beckoned adventurers since its discovery, drawing those unafraid of low temperatures and the enigmatic discoveries this continent may hold. Just how astonishing are the things people have found in Antarctica? Watch the video until the end to find out. Wilks Land crater. This mysterious formation has puzzled people since its discovery, leading to the wildest theories about its origin. The anomaly spans approximately 500 kilometers in diameter. The very first supposition was made in 1962. It was in that year that people first suggested it might be a crater, and numerous studies have not disproven this theory, only affirming it. What does this suggest? Firstly, it's one of the largest craters discovered on Earth. Secondly, scientists speculate that an asteroid impact in this area caused the separation of Australia from the enormous continent. The gigantic crater lies between Wilks Land in eastern Antarctica and the south of Australia. Thirdly, its size indicates the celestial body that caused it may have been around 48 kilometers in diameter, 4.5 times larger than the asteroid linked to the extinction of certain prehistoric species. Dinosaur remains. Speaking of extinctions, it's time to remember the dinosaurs. You probably won't be too surprised to learn that Antarctica has ties to these magnificent creatures. In 2016, a group of researchers unearthed tons of fossilized dinosaur remains, approximately 71 million years old. Interestingly, this period marked the end of the dinosaurs. Moreover, they weren't the only ancient inhabitants of this continent. Scientists found traces of their relatives and even ancestors of crocodiles. Reptiles the size of iguanas. By the way, this species received a rather symbolic name, the King of Antarctica. It's worth noting that dinosaurs and small reptiles thrived in this part of the world, as the climate back then was much more favorable and warmer. One could even find forests and rivers here, elongated skulls. Another discovery directly related to our history was made not long ago in Antarctica. A group of scientists found skulls. One might ask, what's so unusual about that? Indeed, it's not the first time human remains have been found, nor is Antarctica the first continent for such discoveries. However, these skulls have a unique feature that astounded historians. They have an elongated shape similar to the remains found in Egypt and Peru. Such skull shapes are associated with a special ritual performed by people of higher classes. From childhood, they wrapped an infant's head tightly with fabric, causing the skull to deform. Therefore, the discovery of the remains of these individuals in Antarctica reveals an astounding fact. Ancient civilizations began interacting long before the period described in all our history textbooks. Some, however, believe these are not human remains, but those of extraterrestrial visitors. There's an opinion that while a skull can change shape, it cannot increase in size as it appears in this case. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments under this video. Now let's move on. Large meteorite. A whole group of scientists tirelessly studies Antarctica from morning till night, aiming to discover the most diverse and unusual phenomena. Indeed, this vast and cold continent continues to amaze with its discoveries. Belgian and Japanese scientists, during an expedition, discovered an unusual stone that immediately captured their interest. And rightly so, as it turned out to be of extraterrestrial origin. The 18-kilogram meteorite immediately attracted attention and prompted a series of investigations. So, what did they find out about this cosmic guest? Well, for starters, it's the largest meteorite found here in the last 25 years. Its size suggests it was much larger before impact. Moreover, several more meteorites were found right after, with a total weight of 75 kilograms. Among them were a Martian meteorite and a piece of the asteroid Vesta. Overall, it's worth mentioning that one couldn't imagine a more ideal place for meteorite research than Antarctica. The incredibly low temperature of Antarctica perfectly preserves parts of asteroids. So, I believe we can expect further discoveries in the future. Century-old whiskey. And now it's time to move on to the most enjoyable find from our video. Perhaps when setting off to explore Antarctica, researchers expected to find human remains or meteorite debris. However, what they definitely didn't anticipate finding was a crate of light alcohol. Yet, that's exactly what they discovered in 2006. Thanks for this goes to the British polar explorer Ernest Shackleton. It was he who, in late 1909, decided to undertake another expedition to the North Pole and sent a ship there with all the necessary equipment. However, later the man decided it would be financially unwise and canceled his expedition. Consequently, the entire cargo remained lying in the Antarctic ice. Researchers waited for 3 years before extracting the crate of whiskey because it needed special tools to avoid accidentally damaging the intriguing find. Mysterious enormous hole. This story traces back to 1970 when scientists first noticed a strange opening in one of the ice masses of the continent via satellites. Decades passed and the phenomenon remained a puzzle, with no one able to pinpoint the source of this ice hole. In 2017, history repeated itself, but this time, the hole didn't just appear, it rapidly grew. Its initial size was 9,500 square kilometers. Strikingly, this occurred during the coldest time of the year, when the ice reached its maximum thickness. One physicist commenting on the situation even stated that the hole was so remarkable that it seemed as though someone intentionally drilled it into the ice. Yet, as you might expect, ufologists chimed in, sincerely believing these were the doings of extraterrestrial beings wanting to melt the ice and flood our planet. However, researchers found a more realistic explanation. It was due to cyclones and strong winds that caused the ice displacement and the emergence of warm water on the surface. Which version do you believe? Douglas Mawson's plane. Antarctica continues to delight researchers with new discoveries each year, offering glimpses into the past. In the past of aviation, for instance. In 2009, one of the oldest airplanes in the world was discovered. This transport aided Douglas Mawson's expedition. The Australian explorer began his journey across the continent in 1911. However, the use of this plane turned out to be quite unconventional. The aircraft couldn't fly as it had crashed earlier, severely damaging its wings. Hence, Mawson repurposed it into a ground tractor, attaching skis to it. This solution was quite practical, but the man overestimated the capabilities of the aircraft's engine. The mechanics couldn't withstand the severe cold, rendering the Sanka aircraft completely inoperable. Consequently, Mawson deemed it most appropriate to leave this transport in Antarctica, where it was found many years later. Ancient forest. I'm sure you've always pictured Antarctica as a snowy, cold, and bleak place. And it's probably hard for you to believe that it wasn't always like that. Just imagine, once upon a time, this continent was blooming and smelled of flora. Don't believe it? American scientists discovered 13 fossilized tree fragments in Antarctica. Long ago, Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, and it was then that trees grew near the South Pole. At that time, the dominant plant genus in this region was Glossopteris. Researchers didn't just find a couple of fragments, they literally pieced together an entire forest that once existed here. By the way, its age is estimated to be around 280 million years. Conditions were more favorable then, as the temperature in this region was considerably higher, as was the sea level. Missing plane. Unfortunately, the weather conditions in Antarctica are a true challenge, and not everyone can pass it. This happened in the winter of 2013. The Twin Otter aircraft departed from the South Pole to the Italian Antarctic base located on the western shore of the Ross Sea. However, it never reached its destination. The plane went missing, causing panic. It took 3 long days of searching to discover the wreckage of the transport on Mount Elizabeth, 3,900 meters above sea level. It's hard to say exactly what caused the crash, but it was most likely related to the weather and poor visibility in that area. According to reports, a man with extensive experience in Antarctic expeditions since 1991 was at the controls of the plane. But apparently, even years of experience can't withstand the harsh and perilous conditions of Antarctica. Dry valleys. Question. Do you know where the driest place on Earth is located? Many mistakenly believe it's the desert in Chile, and I'm willing to bet that few even remember a continent like Antarctica. It's logical, as it's hard to associate this part of the Earth with dryness and deserts. Yet, imagine that it's precisely here that you find the dry valleys. A vast, ice-free territory spanning about 8,000 kilometers has never seen rainfall, snow, or any form of precipitation for over 2 million years. Yes, you heard that right. Over 2 million years. The incredibly strong winds, reaching speeds of 320 kilometers per hour, evaporate all moisture, leaving no chance for precipitation. Currently, this territory is classified as a specially protected area. Such conditions are simply perfect for various research endeavors. That's all for today. Don't forget to like this video and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.